Okay, hello everybody. We will start today introduction to the programming for engineering or engineers. The course is COMP215. This lecture will introducing to computers and Python. Then we'll talk about elements of a computer system. Then we'll talk about programming paradigm. Finally, we'll talk about history, what is Python, why we use Python, and where we will use Python. Today, we'll not learning any code for Python, only introduction to computers and introduction to Python. This course adopt a top-down approach to the subject. And so far, we have taken a computer as a black box. Now we'll look inside the box. We'll start by looking at different parts inside the computer, then go to programming languages. Later, or finally, we'll learn the basics of Python. Element of a computer, it's a revision, it's a review. I know all of you know these things, but for reminder you, any computer system has two parts or two elements, hardware and software. In the hardware, inside the box, there is motherboard, CPU, RAM, hard disk, floppy, or the system fan, of course, power supply. You will learn this at the lab of this course. Software of a computer system, software commands the computer to perform actions and make decisions. Okay. It divides itself for three categories. Software, first category or part, operating system, application, programming languages. Application softwares like Microsoft Office, AutoCAD, Photoshop, games, WhatsApp, Facebook, any application you have. Operating system, OS, it acts as an interface between the application software and hardware system. It's the intermediate between application or between user and hardware. OS such as Windows 7, 10, Linux, Mac OS, Android, and others. We will focus on programming languages. We will focus on programming languages. There are two types of programming languages. Low-level programming language like assembly language, ACM, and machine code language or machine language is a collection of bits that the computer reads and enters, zero ones. Machine language, it's in the hardware level, in the CPU level, RAM level. They connect with each other via ones and zeros, 110, 011. Assembly language is low-level language to program the machine code. It's old language. There are three engines called assembler, interpreter, compiler. Assembler converts the assembly language into machine language. Interpreter, like Python, converts just one statement at a time of the high-level language program into machine code, like JavaScript, Python, and others. Compilers, like C and C++, Java, scans all the program and convert the whole body from high-level language to machine code at once. The difference between interpreter and compiler: interpreter will convert, like Python, will convert line by line, will convert the high-level language to machine code line by line. If there is an error, will stop at that line. Whereas compiler will scan all the codes and give you the errors at once. There is advantage in each side. We'll talk now about programming paradigm. It's a programming style, your way to problem solving. There are two ways: imperative and declarative. Imperative, like procedural, like C, Pascal, Python, or object-oriented, like C++, Java, also Python, and declarative, like logical code or programming like Lisp, or functional, like Prolog, also like Python. As you see, Python is a good programming language because it can be used in procedural or object-oriented like C++, or or in functional coding. What is Python? The programming language most often used in computer engineers are C, C++, Java, and Python for computer engineers, not for computer science. Okay? The computer science will use this and others. Python is an object-oriented scripting language like JavaScript that released in 91. It was developed by Guido van Rossum, Research Institute for Mathematics and Computer Science at Amsterdam. Python has rapidly become one of the world's most popular programming languages. It's now particularly popular for educational and scientific computing. Why? Because it's an open source, free software. It's easier to learn than other languages like C, C++, C Sharp, or Java. It supports popular programming paradigm, procedural, functional, and object-oriented, as we said before. It enhances developer productivity with extensive standard libraries and thousands of third-party open source libraries. Python is very useful because it has very large of amount of libraries. If we want to make game, application like game, just calling a library, and we make a game. That's why programmers can write code faster and perform complex tasks with minimal codes. We'll use always the libraries inside the pipe. It also simplifies concurrent programming like parallel programming, not like C. In Python, we can code any program that run in parallel via CPU, via multi-core CPUs. Also, there is an extensive job market for Python programming across many disciplines, especially in data science-oriented positions. And Python jobs are among the highest paid of all programming jobs. Highest salary, around $150,000 per year for Python programming. Where we can use Python? Where? It's used in applications with massive number of users, like such as Dropbox, YouTube, Reddit, Instagram, Quora, or others. As you can see, Instagram, YouTube, they have, or Dropbox, they have millions of users. Python can handle that. Also, because Python is scripting language, it can be used in web development. You make a website, host programming a website like JavaScript, it like Flask and Java. Also, of course, we can make a game using Python, game development. There are libraries such as PySol or and Pygame to create games such as Civilization, Disney Toon, Vega, Tetris, uh, others games. We use these two libraries to construct a game. We will see that in your project at the final of this course. You will make a small game using these two libraries. Also, finally, and also machine can be used in machine learning and artificial intelligence, creating algorithms which make the computer learn by itself. This is why called artificial intelligence, because the algorithm will learn by itself using the libraries such as pandas, scikit learn, numpy, and others. So here, as you know, this course COMP215, Programming for Engineer, it's the basic course for AI track in the BEU University. If you want add your certification to include the AI track, artificial intelligence track, you must take about 5 to 6 special courses about in AI, like COM215. It's the basic course for them all. Also, can be used in data science and data visualization, like like data is money. If you know how to extract different information, also can be used in desktop GUI, graphical user interface. Graphical user interface. We use Python to program desktop. It provides a Tkinter library that can be developed user interface. We can use this also in the game. As we said before, can be using a web scraping application. Scraping application, which is it pulls a large amount of data from websites, like Google done. Do. Google, when you search any word, Google will search your keyword for all websites. Of course, it has a big database inside Google, but will search among all websites to get your information. We can use Python. Okay. Google itself, the algorithms of Google programmed by Python also. Python and others. Of course, we can use Python in business application such as e-commerce, ERP, and many others, like library Triton to develop business application. E-commerce like website Amazon.com, Alibaba.com, AliExpress.com, eBay, and others. All of them use Python. Also, we can use Python in audio and video applications, such as TimePlayer, CPlay, also. Of course, we can use Python in CAD application. computer aid design like Fandango to draw like AutoCAD and others and others. And we can use Python in embedded applications. Because Python is based on C, Python is based on C language, yes, and Java and others. So Python is combination between different programming language like based on C, around 40% on C, and Java, JavaScript, also others scripting tools or programs to build Python. So because Python is based on C and all embedded systems or applications has has programmed by embedded C, so we can use Python to embedded system such as Raspberry Pi. So the new version of Raspberry Pi, we can use Python to program this circuit. The old version was programmed by embedded C. The newest version of Raspberry Pi, we can use Python. Okay, we will finish this lecture for this session. If you have any information, please tell me. Any question, please? Any question?
Sir, will we be designing libraries نحن من عنا?
No. Of course not. Of course not. We will use libraries, Pythons. We will use them. We will not program a Python in this course. In this course. Later on, you will take another course, advanced algorithms, AI. Maybe you will make a library. But when using Python, we use all its libraries.
Okay, thank you a lot.
Any question?
No.